Well, the biggest thing I wanted to do was kind of focus on the fact that I knew that pregnancy was going to bring a lot of change, and I wanted to make sure that physically, like I knew that there's going to be a lot of physical changes, and I wanted to make sure that like my body was prepared, but at the same time that was kind of connected to making sure that I was mentally prepared as well. So they were kind of like in harmony. So I felt I was listening to my body, and I felt like kinesiology would help me release tension and stress and kind of have those two systems working together. I think the biggest thing I found was that when I started coming here, it was so much of this like underlying tension and emotion and things that like I knew were kind of happening, but I didn't really realize how much of an impact it was having on my body physically. So being pregnant and knowing how much like I really needed to focus on being healthy and having, being like just kind of like adapting to the physical changes, it sort of allowed me to give like release to like that stress and tension that I was holding on to, and made me just feel like every time I left I felt amazing. I felt really calm, I felt relaxed, I felt like I knew what was happening with my body, that I was like working with it. So the biggest thing is that I felt like I was instantly sort of connected to the baby and bonding with the baby, because like after each session I just felt like I would leave feeling like I was all like emotionally connected, and my body was being physically prepared for it. So it was like that connection to the physical emotional again. And then also just like every time I had a goal of, we'd work on goals together, I would leave and like listen to music and like rub my belly more, and I just felt like I was listening more like to what was going on and what he wanted. So I guess before I started coming here, I always thought of bonding like I had to think about it. I had to sort of like tell myself to okay, now I gotta talk to the baby, I gotta try to connect with the baby. But then after I started coming here, it sort of became like a natural thing for me to just always have the baby sort of connected to what I was doing and how I was feeling, so it didn't feel like I had to think about it anymore. I felt very connected to it most of the time, and I was always bonding with it. Some of the goals that I worked on while I was here was just trying to make sure that I was always being open and honest with him, because I felt like a lot of the pregnancy I was holding back emotions and things that were happening, and that was affecting our relationship and then also causing stress and affecting me. So there's that connection, and I feel like since working with you and I've had all these opportunities to sort of put that out into the open, like I feel like I can talk to him more, so I don't hold things back from him because I'm afraid that it's gonna cause more stress, because I recognize that by actually holding back it's more detrimental to everyone. So we've been better communicating, definitely. Specifically, I wanted to do pelvic floor work and everything, because I knew that, with pregnancy and getting ready for labor and delivery, like those were really important muscles I wanted to work on. And I was actually having issues with some of the muscles in that area where I was having pains, and I was having like a pressure, I guess that's what I would call it. And we did a couple sessions, a couple sessions here, and focused on sort of opening up those muscles and working on it, and not even 2 weeks later, I felt like those symptoms of that pain going away in that area. For years, I've had an issue with my skin where I would even wake up in the middle of the night, I'd be scratching, I'd be uncomfortable, I'd be inflamed, and I would try to, diet, certain restrictions and everything to try to figure out what it was. And when I came here, and we did a lot of work on, looking at the emotions related to that, and I honestly think I haven't scratched since then at all, and all of those symptoms have just disappeared since doing those sessions. The idea that I had from like who I was going to be when I was pregnant and what I was going to look like, the type of symptoms and everything that was going to happen, was dramatically completely different from actually how I feel just from coming here, because I thought that I was going to have all the skin issues be dramatically worse, and I thought that I was going to be in pain all the time. I had all these ideas, and honestly I think that coming here has been the catalyst to moving it in the opposite direction and having like really easy, comfortable and happy pregnancy. because I'm coming up to birth now, I'm 36 and a half weeks, I feel like I'm very prepared. I feel like my body's prepared, and I also feel like I'm mentally and emotionally prepared, and I think that I owe a lot of that to coming here and working in kinesiology. So I think that the delivery itself, which is something I harbored fear and anxiety about before I got pregnant, because it was something that I feel like I've always been afraid of. I feel prepared, I feel excited, which is something I didn't think I was going to feel. So I feel 100% ready, physically, emotionally, mentally, and that's all connected. I think the biggest thing is also that Erin has been such an amazing help throughout all of this, and it's the way that kinesiology is, it's about your body and your mind and how everything's connected, but you also really need someone who is going to go through those things with you in a sensitive and in a way that's empathic and really understanding, so you feel comfortable. And that way, when you're comfortable, you really sort of go there and actually feel the positive changes. So you need someone that's going to be strong and also really, centered and calm to help you get through that. And I think Erin was perfect for that role.